Probably can't see my watch, but it's about 4:30 in the morning. We're off to another adventure. Okay, so it's day 2 on the adventure, and if you hear that, that is the auto crane. And let's just say things aren't going bad, but are not quite going as smoothly as possible. The real question is, will these trucks make it 2,000 miles in the Southwest summer heat? Yeah, just a little bit of a leak. So we think we got the power steering leak fixed. We're gonna gamble on the coolant one. That is an amazing view, and if you can tell, we're not in Minnesota anymore. It's the 3rd time the hood's been up, just at the stop alone.
Man, we're just gonna call you Mr. Road Trip, huh?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's never boring around me, is it?
No.
Ever. Oh, man. I just got done with, like, literally, I got home about noon yesterday.
Yep.
Coming back from California and another road trip. And I've been on more trips in the last month than I have in the last, like, 3 years. It's pretty crazy. So I'm in the shop. I'm waiting for Adam. Adam is actually going to drop me off on his way to work, which is pretty cool. That's how you know you have a good friend, right? Hey, will you drop me off at the airport like super early? And then he's just like, yeah, I'll just go to work early after that. All right, cool. This adventure is going to be just that. It is going to be an adventure. One, not only because we got to go through Death Valley, or a portion of it. I'm not saying I'm worried about it, but I've driven it before, and it's just one of those things you're just aware of. Fuel stops are few and far between. If you have some issues, there's not a lot of repair shops just because there's not a lot of people. So it is a pretty intense thing. Luckily, we're gonna have 2 trucks, so we can always get to safety. I'm not worried about that, but it's more just the delay of the trip. Right now, it is Wednesday morning. The goal here is to get to California today, get packed up, start driving to right away tomorrow morning, hopefully around like 3 o'clock. Hopefully try to be home sometime on Friday. Thanks for the ride, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it. And hopefully I'm not overconfident. See you in a couple days. Thank you.
Yep, see ya.
It's something I really like to do. This last one I didn't see coming, but it was to help out a friend for a good purpose. All right. So we have this mutual friend named Proco. He called me up and asked me for a huge favor, but I couldn't say no because he's the same friend that dropped me off in Wyoming a little over a month ago to pick up a truck. What kind of got this last month of adventures going, we wrapped up crops, we got everything done. About 3 weeks ago, Proco drops me off in Wyoming because he was driving back to California. But he drove 3 hours one way out of his way to drop me off.
So 6 hours total.
6 hours total.
Added to his already 20-some hour trip from Minnesota to California. So that's not nothing.
Well, we made it. We made it safely. And if you look at that view, that is just kind of neat when you realize how many hours of engineering went into just that tarmac, runway, etc. Always impressive.
Yeah.
But it saved us just gobs of time by doing it. The thing with Proco, he's always been that friend that we've always traded favors back and forth. All right, so then we do that one weekend. The next weekend we go out to South Dakota to pick up our second truck. On our way to get the second pickup. Like always, hope we're friends after this.
Yep.
Everything went really well. And then Proco calls me, hey, what are you doing on the 4th of July? What got this roller coaster of events going is his dad's 75. His dad's having some health issues. His dad's truck died. He's trying to find a specific truck for his dad. It needs to be heavy enough to pull the bale wagon because his dad's a farmer.
Yep.
And it needs to be 4-wheel drive, and then it needs to be an automatic. It's actually kind of tough finding something like that, that doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
Right.
Well, we made it safely to Seattle, and now we're just boarding the next flight that's going to take me to Ontario, California. Sounds cool if you say LA. This plane's going to take me to Los Angeles. Yeah. Proco lives down in Southern California, right on the eastern side of LA, right next to Fontana, San Bernardino. He works for a construction company, but they also have another construction company that they do a lot of work for. This truck, this 2014 Ford, was one of those company's trucks. We did it. If you look behind me, we landed in Ontario, California. Yeah, I'm gonna go find my ride now. We're kind of still on a very tight time schedule. Everything's going really good. It just, the minutes kind of matter here. The reason it was affordable, it was having some emission issues. We knew that going in. Now, Proco's a mechanic. He has all the scan tools, and he's like, I bet I can fix this, right?
Yeah.
The words that so many men have died by.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
So he bought the truck,
Yep.
planned on fixing the truck, and then getting the truck back to Minnesota for his dad to drive.
Yeah, all within about a 10-day period. Yes.
And that's where Eric comes in.
Because he was getting low on vacation days. The summertime, obviously, the construction season really doesn't rest.
Yeah.
So we were trying to line this up because they had the Thursday before the 4th off. So they had the 3rd off, the 4th off, the 5th off, the 6th off. If he could take Monday off work, he could be back home. Everything should be good. That's if everything goes as planned.
Okay.
Get off my plane, talking to Proco, and I walk through these doors and I see his truck and I'm like, oh, no way. So I walk right up the truck, throw my bag in.
Nice.
Hey, here we go.
And we couldn't have timed that any better.
I know, right?
We start driving and he's like, I got bad news for you. And I'm like, bad news for me? Like, what do you mean? He's like, the truck just kicked into degen, which means...
So he's driving the truck that he bought.
Yeah, purposely. Like, we're trying to get...
test it
we're trying to get
how.
some miles on it just so we can test it to see what's going on because we have an 1,800-mile road trip ahead of us, almost 1,900.
And a lot of it through areas that are pretty desolate. Like
and on a holiday
like
weekend.
Exit every 2 miles. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you throw in the 4th of July weekend, you start
things are
questioning
closed,
what parts stores are going to be open.
Yeah.
Look behind me there. We're at a parts stop. A lot of things have been happening this afternoon. They've been happening so fast I haven't had time to really explain it or film it. The original goal was to fly into California, pick up a truck, pack some stuff up, and then get on the road right away in the morning. But wouldn't you know it, the truck I was going to be driving, basically the computer put the truck into G-Gen.
So it's kicking into regen,
which means it has a max speed of 50 miles an hour for 24 miles, and then it's going to go down 15 miles an hour. That's a huge problem if you're trying to drive it from Los Angeles to Minneapolis. Kicking into what they call regen, which it all ties into newer vehicles and emissions. We have older vehicles, so we don't have to fight that, and we also live in Minnesota, not California. But basically means this. The dash will tell you your max speed is 50 miles an hour for 24 miles.
While it's running that cycle.
And that's if it doesn't, that's if everything goes good. Then if you keep driving it, it's going to kick your max speed down to 15 miles an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, this kind of matters, right?
Yeah.
All right, we get back to his place. We have a plan B. There's these terms called delete. I like the verbiage assist. So we are going to build an exhaust assist system. Yeah, read between the lines.
Trying not to do anything illegal. Knowing you're doing something illegal. Assist, yeah.
Yeah, so we attempt to build the assist, and
but
he's
you
like...
knew you're leaving California. California has stricter emissions things. You're going back where it does not matter so much, right? So
we'll just keep using the term assist.
You want to leave this. It can stay in California.
I like to think of, we did something to allow the vehicle to get back to Minnesota where we can fix it properly. Yeah. That's probably the best way to put it. Assist. That's a good assist, yeah.
Good assist.
We know we have this backup plan, and Proco looks at me and he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, let's start working on our exhaust assist system because I do not want to be stranded in like Death Valley or on the 15 trying to get to Vegas. The trip was going to go in like 3 major steps. Step 1 is leaving Los Angeles to Vegas because you got to go through basically the desert. Luckily, it was cooler temps, but it was still 109, 114 degrees and through that section, those 2-day period.
Yeah.
And we don't start a fire. Then the next step is what they call the High Sierra Mountains, and that's like as you leave Vegas and get into Utah. Oh my gosh, the mountains are beautiful, but it gives
also problematic. Yeah.
Yep. Final step is like through the Rockies, getting into Colorado. Like once we get on Denver, I'm like, the joke
then it's
was,
flat ground and you're like,
we're one low boy ride away.
You can call Adam and have him down there in 10 hours. And,
like, hey buddy, hey, what are you up to? Hey, wanna head west?
Yep.
Impressive. We cut in specific areas, we removed sensors, we put a new exhaust system up, we gave the ECM a new tune. We are driving it around at like 9 o'clock at night, testing it.
But how many hours did all this take? You make it sound quick, but that's not a quick process.
Yeah,
right?
all night. I think we started, I got off the plane around 1:30, and I think we started probably 2:33 and driving around at 9. 9 o'clock, we were driving around East LA trying to figure out like where we can find some food. It is actually, I think, we're in one of the few states that's prettier at night than actually in the day. And then we were making sure like no check engine codes were coming on. The main thing was once we seen the truck start and no check engine codes came on and it actually revved up, then we knew, okay, we should have this, but we still wanted to test it because with all the different controllers, the engine controller, the chassis control, all this stuff, like the engine, that's all like communicating with it. Just because it starts doesn't mean you're gonna have all 4, 5, 6 forward gears.
Okay.
Luckily we did.
Okay.
Luckily we did. I walked into Proco's house that night, flopped over on the bed, and I was like, see ya, I'm finally getting some sleep.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the following morning. A lot of people think going on a road trip with a mechanic is a good thing. It's actually not, because he's worried about every little thing.
Okay.
The whole goal of this trip was to bring 2 trucks back from his house in California to Minnesota. He's going through both trucks with a fine-tooth comb, fixing everything. When I wake up that morning, he's got the steer tires off, he's got the rear tires off, we're swapping some stuff around, right? He's like, I want to load this, I want to load that. I thought load basic tools, well, he's also loading some other stuff. The goal was to be on the road like 3 o'clock that morning. That didn't happen.
Oh gosh.
6 o'clock that morning, I wasn't even awake.
Okay.
8 o'clock that morning, we're switching tires. 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock that afternoon, we were finally getting the final steps loaded. We finally get on the road at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
All right, well, good news, and not bad news, but just news in general. We are ready to hit the road here in about a half hour. We got all the trucks loaded. So what we got here is we have this Dodge, and then if we turn around this way, we have this Ford that is going back to Minnesota. So basically the simple math is it's 1,864 miles. Let's just say 2,000, because I know there's going to be some form of delay, something. We're going to take the wrong route. So the real question is, this is a 2014 Dodge, and over here we have a 2012 Ford, both emissions, different things like that. The real question is, will these trucks make it 2,000 miles in the Southwest summer heat? That's the real question. Little delayed. Also, I felt way better. All the stuff we were doing was going to help it get going.
Yeah.
But there's a funny thing with this. When you're working with a mechanic, he has his truck he wants to drive, and then he's giving me subtle hits like, hey, you're a Ford guy, because one's a Ford, one's a Dodge. And he's like, you're a Ford guy, why don't you drive the Ford? And then that way you can tell me if there's any problems. And I'm like, you promise to pull me off the side of the road if there is. And he's like, yes, of course, because I want to get that truck back to Minnesota. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll drive the Ford. So he's driving a Dodge, I'm driving a Ford. Well, wouldn't you know it, the Dodge is the truck. We kept having all of these micro little problems. As we're leaving California, he's like, hey, are you getting up to 70 miles an hour? And I'm like, I'm right behind you, ain't I? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm doing 70. He's like, is the air conditioning working? I'm like, actually it is, really nicely, right?
That's good, 109. Yeah, good thing it's working.
Yeah, we get out of California, we get through the desert, we get to this town called Baker, and in Baker, you got to climb this massive hill. All right, so everything's actually going pretty good. We have a little bit, we're trying to diagnose a couple problems. We have a power steering line that's leaking a little bit. We're gonna see if we can get that to tighten up. And then we have a coolant line that's leaking a little bit. Funny thing, on the Dodge, not the Ford. For the most part, everything is going really good, and this is kind of a neat spot. So I've made this trip a couple times. You see the cars there. This is all uphill, and it's 17 miles uphill. I have gone both east and west on this road. I've climbed it, I've coasted it. It is a really weird feeling in a truck when you top the hill and you just freewheel for 17 miles. It's really crazy. We're just outside Baker, California. I gotta look up what the name of this hill is. It has a specific name, but it's actually really, really, really cool. Well, we were in the process of climbing it, and you can see the little trucks here. Dodge started running a little warm. We quickly find out Proco's truck starts running warm as he's crawling the hill, and he's starting to lose his steering. And so we're like, oh, this isn't good. So we pull over. We're just about to the crest of the hill. We pull over. We find out the power steering pump's leaking. Good thing you got a mechanic with, because he brought some lines, he brought some tools. We get that fixed.
But how hot was it when you were doing all that?
We went through that section, probably when we were sitting probably like 101, 102. It was already, the sun was going down.
Oh,
so
my
it was
goodness, though.
way better. Yeah, it just, you get
But
out of the...
still.
I couldn't tell. My air conditioning was ice cold.
You got the right track.
You get out of the truck and it's just like you're in an oven. It's
Yeah.
just, the heat is everywhere, but it was
Yeah.
so cool to experience. One thing with the Dodge is we knew the fan shroud wasn't awesome, but what we quickly kind of find out is maybe it wasn't allowing the fan to pull as much air, but there just wasn't much we could do about it. We added a little coolant, we get the line fixed, and then we take off. The next major stop is Vegas, so we keep going through the desert, and we get to Vegas. Now the sun's going down, everything's running really, really good.
Okay.
We get back on the road and things are going good, but we start having just all these like little micro problems with the Dodge. Proco has the hood open way more than the Ford was.
Yeah, that wasn't the truck you guys were even worried about, right?
No.
Yeah.
All right, we are in Beaver, Utah, and it is kind of cool with the flag there on 4th of July weekend. Everything's going really, really good, and we just stopped to get some fuel, let the dogs out, let them do their thing. The neat thing is that first, whenever you have like new to you vehicles, there's always that fear of like, hey, what are we missing? What could go wrong? And why was this cheap? You know, like, why is someone selling this cheap enough that I can afford it? The backstory with this is we have 2 vehicles here. We have 2 trucks that we really knew nothing about, and we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles cross country. And we were trying to take them 2,000 miles very hot weekend across a very hot part of the country. I knew going into this trip that the most challenging part is really from leaving LA until we got to the Rockies. And just because we're going to be fighting heat, big hills, traffic, a lot of congestion. So that's why, like right now, I'm already breathing a sigh of relief just knowing, hey, probably, hopefully, the most concerning stretch of road, we're already past the most concerning stretch of road. All right, we just stopped again, but this one was planned. My odometer says 49 miles to empty. Now that's 49 miles on flat ground. When you're going up and down steep mountain banks in Utah, put fuel in. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay, good morning. So last night the clock said 2:11. I shut the truck off and I watched a little TV before I eventually fell asleep. And now if you look at it right here, clock's saying 5:36. Oh, it is early. Sun is bright. I'm gonna walk in the truck stop here and grab some coffee. Then we're gonna get back on the road and and the whole time I do that, I'm gonna think to myself, wow, I used to think road trips like this were fun. Why do I do this by choice? All right, well, happy 4th of July. I'm a little more awake than earlier this morning. So I think we got like 120 some miles on. It's like 8:30 in the morning, something like that. And going really good. It's just we had to throw some fuel in, check some things out. We're right on the outskirts of Junction City, Colorado. And if you look behind me here, you see these big mountains. We purposely wanted to get to kind of this point. So the next probably, I don't know, 100-ish miles from here all the way to Denver is huge mountains. Huge mountains. We wanted just to do some preliminary checks on the truck just before we make this next kind of run through the mountains. And so far everything's going good. But everything's checking out good, and so I think we'll be fine. One last little stroll through the Rocky Mountains, then we're in the plains. Yeah, the worst will definitely be behind us. We get to Colorado, and we know our next main stretch is on the corner, like the very edge of Utah into Colorado, and we got to go through the Rockies. We got to go through what they call the Eisenhower Tunnel. The tunnel is somewhere between 12 and 14,000 feet high. It is nothing but a 12, 14 mile descent up there.
Wow.
Well, I'm following Proco, and I could come around him anytime because I had really good power. He's so mad. He calls me and he's like, so how's it going? And I'm like, good. I got the air conditioning on. Everything's good because the air conditioning's not keeping up in the Dodge. Like it was getting a little warm. I could see the windows going down.
Okay.
Because he also has his 2 dogs with him. I'm like, yeah, good. It's nice and cold, and I got all the power to pass you. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. You want me to proof it? And he's like, no, just stay behind me. And I'm like, okay. We get up through the tunnel, and the tunnel. It is really kind of this build up to get there. Like you go through these towns, you're going through these switchbacks, and it's just nothing but this incline. And then once you get to the tunnel, now you know basically you coast 40 to 50 miles down into Denver. Okay. But once you hit it, you're just like, okay, once we get down to Denver, it's basically just the flat plain states. Everything's good. Like you just know the
hardest parts are behind you.
Now all of a sudden the fuel stations are closer. Like we hit a section that there was only like there's signage saying the next fuel's in 65 miles. Yeah. You know, so when I say it gets Utah, Nevada gets really desolate. It gets really desolate. Where when you get in the plain states, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, like, you know, you're going to go 20 miles, find a fuel place, find a parts place. Yeah. Well, we're not quite halfway on the trip, but we're through the most adventurous part and also possibly the most fearful part. We made it through the desert. We now officially are on the backside of the Rockies, or for us, the east side of the Rockies. And we just made it through the Eisenhower Johnson Tunnel. We got about a 40-mile descent now into Denver. And then once you kind of get through Denver, you're in the plains. And I'm not too worried. Usually by this time, if you made it, and the transmission, the engine, and the rear end and all that's running nice and cool, and you haven't had a problem, you're probably fine the rest of the way home. So that's why once we get through that tunnel, man, it's just like instantly breathing a sigh of relief. Like, yes, we made it. We make it. We start descending. Everything's going good. I mean, it's just crazy. I had to show Proco where me and Adam spun out on that hill. Yeah, and he's like, really? He's like, you did that in a 2-wheel drive Ford? I'm like, it wasn't supposed to snow that morning. But then we get in Nebraska. Yeah, we start seeing some smoke, and we're like, ooh, that's not looking good. And you can see it, and we're getting closer, and the cloud's getting a little bigger and a little bigger. And then finally we get up to it and you can see exactly what happened. A wheel came off a trailer, it started a tire fire. And then you notice the truck in front of me is pulling over. That's Proco. Proco calls me because I'm like just driving, like I'm taking off. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna stay here and help put the fire out. And I'm like, okay. Now this comment is actually interesting because we had to talk about it later. He's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm gonna keep driving because I imagine the fire department's on its way. I see all the cars stopped.
Oh, okay.
And when you live in the metro area, this is where it's just two different takes. Because he lives in California, I live in the metro. What they, like multiple times when you've listened to radio broadcasts, stuff like that, if you see a car fire in the metro, they'll tell you just keep driving, don't slow down the Gawker stare. Like that's actually what they want you to do.
Keep the traffic moving.
Keep the traffic moving. EMTs and firefighters can get there in a timely fashion. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave. Now, he lives in California where it's a very dry climate. And he's like, no, in California, he's like, you stop and you put the fire out. So he has a shovel and he stopped and he started like shoveling. And then all of a sudden the fire department shows up and I'm like, well, I'll just pull up at the next stop, man. I'll just wait for you. It's cool. Like it's not worth me swinging back around.
No, right.
Yeah, so he becomes a firefighter.
Of course.
I become a bum who drives away. Well, later when we meet up, we're actually talking about it, and he's like, "Okay, cool." Like, yeah, I mean, he's like, "I understand." I'm like, I'm like, I have a 1 pound fire extinguisher next to me. I'm like, that's not going to do anything, you know. And so, but yeah, he was out there fighting
it.
Yeah, till the fire department showed up, and then he's just like, "Well, time to go." Like, we still got to get to Minnesota. We get back on the road again. We're cruising through Nebraska, but there's one thing going on. Every time Proco would shut his truck off, the dash blowers would quit working. That's the third time the hood's been up, just at the stop alone. So he'd have to pop the hood, get out, pull the breaker out, and put it back in. And then we got him to go. Yeah, I just want to point out, the Ford still running flawless. The amount of times I watched him pop the hood,
Too many to count.
He's finally getting fed up with it, and the trick's not working as much. He starts having to switch relays from other spots in the box because we're wondering if it's not getting hot. Luckily, we pull into this O'Reilly's. Road trip equals parts run. The problem with this one is it's the 4th of July, and store closes at 7, and it is 6:50. Heck yeah. It is 6:50 and they're closing at 7. And he runs in and all of a sudden I see him run back out. I gotta know which fan it is. So he's back underneath the dash of the truck looking, runs back in. So he actually gets a blower motor. Luckily, they're pretty easy to put in. So he's putting that in. Ford's still nice and cold, by the way, let me tell you. There we go again. We go down the road. But here's the problem. The blower motor didn't fix it.
Oh, shoot.
Pretty soon we're down the road a little ways and the hood gets popped open and he's moving relays around again, and oh man. Just want to point out, now he's under the truck. We're not quite to Iowa yet. We are in the kind of eastern end of Nebraska. I start seeing the storm clouds roll in, and here we got heavy rain, and pretty soon I'm slowing down. Then we're getting some amazing lightning. And it was kind of crazy because the whole time we're watching the storm on our phones. But pretty soon, over the course of like an hour, the storm, what looks like was going to be small and just like blow through, gets bigger and bigger. So we decide, hey, let's just pull over and let's just let the storm just, go forward. Yeah. All right. Well, if you hear the rain on the roof, we got caught in this kind of nasty little rainstorm that really annihilated our visibility, which is okay because we were both getting tired, so we just pulled into a Cenex here and we're just going to sleep. Can't quite tell which direction the storm's moving. We were looking at the radar on the weather channels and it's kind of weird. It's kind of going the same northeast direction that we were going, so we know we're going to drive right into it. So instead of doing that, we just said, hey, let's just pull over and sleep. And I kind of like that decision. I thought we were going to get a good amount of sleep. About 3 hours later, I hear the knock on the window. Hey, let's go. And I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Sure, like what's another hour or two? Can't I just sleep a little longer? But all right, well, it is the clock now says 3:36 in the morning. It's actually 4:30 in the morning just because we lost an hour and the time zones and all that stuff. But we're back on the road. Oh, yay. You know, he still has the drive back home, so he's try to get there as soon as possible. So we just keep hitting fuel stops, and we get into Iowa, and then eventually get into Minnesota. And then once we got, like, northern Iowa, when you start getting around the spots you recognize, doesn't the stress come off? It really does. All right, so up to this point, I've defended the Ford just because I knew I was kind of driving it one way or another. Like, there was not a lot of talking him out of this. I got to be fair in this whole assessment. We get somewhere in northern Iowa, I finally have a check engine light come on. Up to this point, Proco was telling me, like, hey, you get any check engine lights, anything like that, let me know. I want to scan them because that's going to tell me what's going on.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, sure enough, we pull over, he scans it, and for the first time, we actually were able to detect a, I forgot what the exact code was, basically not a misfire, but like an overfueling code on the number 2 injector.
Okay.
And then he was telling me, he's like, that is probably actually the reason we were having all of the problems with the exhaust. He said more than likely the injector's dumping more fuel in, which was then the exhaust system wasn't able to burn it properly, because that's what we noticed when we pulled the exhaust off. He's like, this is all supposed to be clean. And he's like, all this soot, he's like, you know, he really knew because he was really versed in the technology or in the emission stuff. But he's like, more than likely this faulty fuel injector is probably what was leading to all the exhaust emission stuff. And so now when we get back to Minnesota, we got to fix that. He does, like, he knows that stuff. But anyway, so we actually kind of learned. So for the first time, the Ford had a mishap, but we eventually get back to Minnesota, and oh my gosh, I don't think I've been that exhausted in a long time, like at all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We did it. We got the truck back to Minnesota. I got about a 30-minute drive here till I'm back to home farm. And we're gonna get there, and I'm gonna go to sleep. So you see me, I rolled in noon.
Yeah, we were all like, go to bed. It's fine.
I literally slept all of yesterday, all of last night. I woke up at like 7:30 in the morning, and I still just feel like the hamster's just falling on the wheel, just tumbling. But I'm so grateful we made it.
But hey, you're 3 for 3. You got 3 trucks back.
This last one.
Lots of miles. Like,
this last one sucked the life out of me.
no more road trips for a while.
Oh yeah.
No.
Well,
even if whoever calls, they're no.
Oh man, yeah. So needless to say, we made it. But yeah, you're right. 3 for 3. Oh, this one. When I seen those storm clouds roll in, I just knew. I'm like, please don't have hail. Please don't have hail.
Right?
Like, it's way different trying to back up in the dark. Oh man, yeah. So we made it, and
now back to work, huh?
Yeah, that's so. What this last weekend? So the bad side of this trip was I missed the family get together 4th of July, and I always try to make it to those.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one thing Mom always asked me. She's like, all I just ask is you try getting to all the family stuff. Missing the family, the big 4th of July, kind of a bummer. But in my head, 4th of July is kind of that high water mark. Now I know I gotta start transitioning, thinking about fall.
I know, right?
Start fixing stuff, and so let's just say the timing of these 3 trucks were really good. But yeah,
also, you got a lot to do.
I don't want to go on another road trip for a while. But it was really cool seeing Southern California. I mean, it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous.